Hello, hi there, lovely Capricorns. Do hope that you're well. And my name is Bella. And if you're watching me for the first time, most people know me as Bella, the Secret Psychic. And this is your love forecast for June 2017. And how I do all of my readings is that I work with my spirit guides. So it's pretty much me translating what it is that they want you to know in a very general way when it comes to your love life. However, you guys, I feel this is applied to most of you. But this could be one of my readings where it's actually for a specific view, but I do feel like it's for most of you. And I have to say, it's like the tale of two stories. The first 2 weeks that I'm looking at, I'm just going to warn you now, does not appear to go well at all. But the second half is completely different. It's completely opposite. So stay with me, all right? But I always speak the truth of what my guides want you to be prepared for so that you have insight as you step into June. And it kind of makes sense a little bit astrologically, which I shall explain as we go along. So, Capricorns, you ready? And see this like from the first week of June for the next 4 weeks, roughly. It can come a bit earlier, or it can start a bit later, but roughly around that time. So pretty much in the first week of June, somebody that you are newly dating or that you've been with a long time seems to pull the rug from under your feet. They seem to want to end something, or they disappear, they go quiet, cause a problem, but it feels like heartache greatly. But interestingly, because my guides are saying here it is out of character, you are totally not expecting this, I have to say. To the point where in that first week, you're almost like very laissez-faire about it. You're very like, is this a joke? I'm not taking. You're almost like you're not taking it seriously because it's so sudden and it's a bit over dramatic and it's a bit like, So you're thinking about it, but you're thinking about it in a way where you're like, oh, this will be fine. It'll blow over. And you're kind of right, but in that first week, it takes you to the end of the week and it's not been resolved, or that person hasn't communicated, or they are still saying to you, no, it's over, I don't want this. There's only in the second week that you start to react. Like it's a bit of a delayed reaction, guys, because even though this person's done something dramatic, you almost feel discombobulated that you don't believe it's real. And nobody can blame you because it feels like it comes from nowhere, guys. Like you didn't say anything or do anything to warrant this. It wasn't an argument. It feels like it's come from nowhere. And you're like, you don't believe it. So in the second week, you start to believe it and you start to panic. And then the feelings hit you. And you start to want to try to fix this. You try to want to understand. You say, like, for some of you might be making frantic phone calls, text messages, particularly if it's a new person, they've suddenly gone, AWOL on you. You might bombard them. You might be a bit too much, if I'm being honest with you, because it's big, and it's only because it's a delayed response. You start to realize, oh no, this is real. And I don't want this. And then for those of you who are in a long-term connection and that person's starting to pack their bags and you're like, what? This is real? You start to massively panic and you start to almost throw yourself too much at the person. And that person is like, nope, don't touch me. I don't want to do. Like, it's really, I'm not going to lie, guys, you just feel really rubbish and really like, even with the panicking, you still feel like it's not real. You feel like, what's going on? And so your management of it, I think, is completely normal because it feels a bit over the top, but it feels like because it's so delayed and because it's just a surprise. Imagine if you're surprised over anything, if anything surprises you that is traumatic, sometimes we don't know how we're going to be. But most of the time we sit in the shock, don't we? And it's only when our brain sort of digests it that we then act on it. But your acting is a bit panicky. Completely understandable. Now, this is where it gets really interesting because I just think that whoever you're with, whoever's done this, is actually, your first instinct was actually correct. They were being over the top. They were being dramatic over something you had no idea about. They're not communicating with you. So you've gone through the first week of disbelief. Then you start to see it being real, and they're saying stuff that is making it seem real, and they're doing stuff that's making it seem real. Only for them in the third week, I'm slightly annoyed on your behalf, guys, for them to change their mind, for them to actually start communicating with you, for them to like almost want to fix this. And you will feel like if you felt discombobulated in the first and second week, in the third week you're like this, you're like, now I really don't know what's going on. In fact, what they're doing, whether they realize it or not, is they're building high insecurity in you, because you're like, you don't know whether you're coming or going. And I hate people like that, sorry. It's that kind of feeling where, normally we can judge people by how they act, what they say to us. But when somebody's acting pretty darn imbalanced, when one way they're suddenly off for no reason at all, and then suddenly, after telling you no, getting you so upset, getting you feeling really, really, really not so good, they change their mind. So you might have a voice like this where you're like, what? And like you're relieved, but you're like, you don't feel secure about this. You don't feel happy entirely, because your guard is now up, and you're starting to look at them a little bit different. You're starting to look at them like they're a little bit crazy. You're starting to feel completely insecure. And they seem to communicate in the third week the why, but it still doesn't make sense. And they are sincere. They're coming across as being sincere. No, I do want to fix this, and let's do this, and we want to go in the right direction, and and I promise you this, and they really mean it. But you're like, I don't know if I can trust you now, because you've just put me through something terrible. I need to change your mind. And again, the changing of your mind seems to have come from nowhere. So who are you? Do you get what I mean? Like, you're really not okay with them being dramatic like this, and you're really not okay that they put you through this, because it feels unnecessary. It feels attention-seeking, if I'm being honest with you. But it may backfire on them, because I think there's some of you Capricorns that be like, oh no, hell no, I am not doing this. That they may actually unwittingly break your connection because of their weirdness, quite frankly. But I think most of you will, because of the astral, from the 9th, which is actually the end of the first week, but we have a full moon in Sagittarius. It seems to be a bit delayed, let's say, the optimism and things flowing quite nicely into you having good luck. Because I know in the second week you're so panicked, you're like, please, please, you're almost praying, please don't let this happen. And then you get your wish, but it's very discombobulating and doesn't make you you feel happy but not so happy. So I think it's really important that third week that you express that and you speak your mind, and don't be afraid how you was the second week, because it really is unfair. And I think that they understand that what they did was really unfair. Because what I get in the fourth week, which is why this is like a tale of two cities. So they change their mind in the third. They realise they've got to do a lot of repairing. They really realise it. To the point where, again, for some of you, you might get over the top displays of affection, sudden engagement plans when you're thinking this is way too soon. You're getting promises, big gifts being showered on you, because basically they're feeling guilty that they were over the top. And so they should be. My God, the drama that they've put you through unnecessarily in such a small amount of time, they should be down on one knee, promising you the world. They should be hopping, they should be skipping, they should be jumping through fire hoops. And pretty much in that fourth week, they know they have to do this because it was wrong. And it didn't make sense. And if they did it for attention-seeking reasons, they know that it is wrong. They pretty much lost their mind and then regained it, and then got a bit objectional and realised that that was a bit weird, and actually that they are in a vulnerable position, that you could actually not feel secure, and that eat up on you to the point where you don't want them anymore. So they pretty much have to pull out all the whistles, the everything, to make sure that you and them can walk together securely. It is their job to fix this, and they will, if you let them, because nobody can blame you if you didn't let them, quite frankly. I'm very annoyed on your behalf if you can't tell. It's going to be up to you guys. I think they do enough, though, to win you round, but I think it's really important, particularly in the third and fourth week, that you express that that was not okay and how you feel. In fact, they need a little bit of guilt in order for them to get a reality check, quite frankly. But it seems to all work out in the end. Wowza, guys. Do tell me how this goes, because, oh my goodness, I know how I would feel. They would be gone. I would not take it. I couldn't take that. So, anyway, I hope that's helped, guys. At least you'll be prepared for it. Maybe you can cut them off before they start doing it. But do know that just when you think it's going bad, it gets better. It does. Tale of two stories, but it has a happy ending in the end. And I do hope that this helped you today. I'm better and you have a great June. Try to anyway. Take care.